We're missing something.
Wardrobe.
That's better. I like this.
It's a party.
It's a party. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy 2022.
The year we've all been waiting for, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
Wait, we need to wait.
Oh, where's Randy?
Where's Randy?
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're wonderful.
Happy New Year. I stopped at the Cosmic Party Store and got everybody some party favors. So here,
Oh, is this,
that's
this
Joyce.
is Joy.
Yes.
Ah,
Oh.
I love it.
Happy New Year, everybody. And welcome to the 1/1/2022 double digit
spectacular.
We are so excited about today. Can you tell? Too bad we can't pass these out into the screen. Wouldn't that be
I know.
awesome?
Wouldn't that be
Isn't that great?
great for
That'd be so
everybody
great.
in our audience to have one? I would love that.
So while those two are playing,
Yes.
let me just give you a little bit of housekeeping before we get started here. We are so excited about today because we have special guests and very special friends of ours on today. We'll tell you about them in a minute. And it's 1/1/2022. I think that, I don't know about you, but I have such a feeling about hope and about, like, I have so much peace going into 2022. You know, I feel like it's about to get really good.
It is about to get really good. You know, it's really good right now.
Right.
But it's going to get better.
But don't you feel like there's something like, it's almost like
Something
opening up
brewing,
presents at Christmas time. Like there's something under the tree that...
It is. You know, 2022 is I'm excited about Adironda's message. I don't know about you all, but it's going to be
Of course I am.
it's going to be a spectacular year. I love these chairs. Don't you love these chairs?
We've been in them a few months now. So, you know, one thing that Marilyn and I, and actually I don't think we've done it with Randy, but we do this every year. We've done it for 11 years. We go into the new year. We choose like around Thanksgiving time, we start telling each other, next year, this word is going to be my intention for the year. And so, Marilyn, what intention did you choose for 2022?
Well, it's not original, but it is important. My word for 2022 is gratitude. I choose to be grateful for absolutely every single thing in the world.
So that little step that threw you into the dumpster?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am grateful for that little step that threw me into the dumpster because otherwise I wouldn't be a walking miracle.
That's right. That's right. And what about you, Randy? Do you have I know we kind of like brought this up
No,
last
that's
minute.
fine.
But
My word for 2022 is peace, and I'm going to rid myself of all frustration. Frustration changes your DNA when you're frustrated. Let it go. Get peace in your life, and things will just open up and flow. So that's what.
you know, I have a vision of that picture that we have of the person meditating, and it says, "Let that S stuff go."
Yeah.
You know, that is so.
What about
cool.
your word?
Oh, my word. Well, you know, I've been doing like the last,
Buddha
since
thing.
September, I've been like so into mind training. You know, I started off with 75 Hard, which is all like on a very intellectual, you know, very 3D way. And I did that for about 90 days. Not perfectly, but I did it. And then in that process, the reading that I was doing, I chose for some reason, right? Everything happens for a reason. I was reading about all of these monks, ascetic monks, and because they're like the ultimate in mind training, right? They give up all their worldly possessions and they go on a walkabout in the jungle where there are, you know, leopards and panthers and stuff.
Things that will eat you.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they have no food. All they have is their robe. Sometimes they don't even have shoes. And it's amazing because they do this and many of them achieve enlightenment. But I was reading this one book and he was saying, you don't have to do that. That really in order to achieve enlightenment, really what you do is you become aware of all your thoughts, and then you have compassion for every single situation. So like if you're judging somebody or yourself, you become aware of it, and then you find the compassion in it. And so I thought that would be a good exercise for me.
There you go.
I think it's a great exercise for you.
What about everybody out there? Type in the chat window what you would like.
What your intention. Yeah. Your intention in one word or 2 or 3 words if
Yeah.
you want. But that'll be great. I can't wait to read them.
Yeah. And before we get going, because I know that we're about to jump into the interview with the special people. Before we get going, if you have any issues at all with streaming, we are streaming. This is pre-recorded, but we are streaming. We have chat angels on chat. Just be sure to chat into the box, and they will be able to help you with whatever's going on. Usually, all you have to do is go on and go off and come back on, and that takes care of most of the issues. This is being recorded. It actually already is recorded.
Yeah.
And you will get the replay if you are on our email list. We'll send it out to you.
And if you don't need to know that really if you're here with us. However, we're going to have a couple of set changes and a couple of energies that are expanding our vision and go interdimensional. Beam me up, Scotty, right? Where's our little noisemakers? So we'll rattle these, and I think we could bring in our special guests.
Yeah?
And then have a set change. What do you think? Do we need
Yeah.
these for the special guest?
Maybe not.
Maybe
we'll
not.
send those out to our audience. Here you go.
There you go.
Okay.
And what about these?
Ah.
Yeah.
I love
There you-
these.
Oh. All right.
I know. Our special guests are really, really special today. I'll let you start.
Well,
'Cause
if you didn't
can.
see any of our ads, and that's not what brought you here, or you didn't see our emails go out, then you might not know who it is. But we are so excited to have LEE CARROLL and Monika Muranyi on with us. They work together on a joint mission to share the messages and teachings of Kryon's wisdom. As somebody who we've been traveling with for years, and during COVID, now we are in the Kryon studio because we couldn't travel, so we just brought it inside so we could still bring the messages of Adironnda and also Kryon to you.
Our Kryon Master Studio is so great. Lee's relationship with Kryon actually began in 1989 when he experienced a profound, loving energy that awakened him to an understanding that God was really bigger than he was ever told that God was. I understand that.
Yeah, I remember when he said that on stage when I first started watching him, and I thought, what a great way to explain all of our esoteric messages, right? It's just an understanding
Absolutely.
that God got bigger. Since then, since he had that awakening, Lee has produced 14 Kryon books, and he was the co-author of 3 Indigo Children books. And these Indigo books introduced the world to the term Indigo Children in 2000, and they spawned so many follow-up books by various authors, a movie, a documentary, and lots of interest worldwide regarding our changing kids.
Isn't that the truth? Lee is actually the original channel for Kryon. He's had 10 or 12 people on stage in Europe who all say that they channel Kryon, but he was the original one. And his service to humanity as a channel for Kryon has been recognized by the Delphi Metaphysical University, who awarded him an honorary doctorate degree of science, transpersonal psychology, and metaphysics.
In addition, LEE CARROLL has been listed as one of the 100 most spiritually influential living people by the prestigious Watkins Mind, Body, Spirit magazine out of the UK for over 6 consecutive years.
That in itself is phenomenal.
Pretty impressive, yeah.
Yes. And then in 2012, Monika Muranyi began her journey with Lee when she launched her first book, published then, and it was named The Gaia Effect.
And then Monika went on to publish 3 more subject-driven books from the vast collection of the Kryon channels.
As a result, she has masterfully helped tie together the complex subject of who we are and why in the world are we here.
Throughout her books, Monika has posed dozens of questions to Kryon that provide all of us with a greater understanding and new realizations about our esoteric truths.
Their partnership in the Kryon work has really resulted in the creation of 3 beautifully illustrated oracle and card decks and 2 Kryon apps for the smartphone. I have both of them,
I bet you do.
A weekly online gathering of old souls who participate in the Healing Wednesday program as well.
Please welcome our very, very special friends, very dear friends, LEE CARROLL and Monika Muranyi.
After a set change. Da, 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 da. Shoo.
I love how that works.
I do
That's
too.
so awesome.
This was great, but wait, we do have empty chairs here.
I know. Let's manifest Lee
Yeah,
and
I
Monika.
love manifesting. Okay. Ooh.
Hey, I love that.
Cool.
That's awesome. I wish
what
I
dimension did you come from?
Oh, wow. I came from the 5th dimension, which is a singing group that I really like.
I think I came from Dimension Z
The
because
DZ
from A to
dimension.
Z I'm here. That's amazing.
Well, welcome to the 1-1 Happy New Year double digit.
Absolutely.
Can you believe that we are in 2022?
No.
I know, right?
I
Yeah,
cannot
no,
either.
No.
I cannot
But,
either.
you know, it's always that way, I think. Time seems to go faster for everyone, but especially right now.
It
I think,
is.
yeah.
What do you attribute that to?
Getting older. No, I think we are speeding up. I think the perception is speeding up. And they say, you know, that the vibration of the planet is higher. That's a colloquialism that's just to say that there's more light. But I think there is a feeling of having sped up for a lot of people, even the young people.
That's what I was going to say. Is I've noticed even the kids before.
Yeah.
You know, we always felt kind of a disconnect.
Yeah,
But even they're saying I don't have enough time.
yeah,
You know, they're learning the lessons that we talk about, right?
yep,
About creating your own reality and
Yeah.
expanding time through believing that you have enough time.
yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, time is such an expandable, contractable thing.
You know, that's so true. When we were kids, we could hardly wait for Christmas to, you know,
It took
it
forever.
dragged on and dragged, you know, and waiting. So that is a kind of a variable thing. We have some of that as adults, but in general, I think we are experiencing an acceleration, a quickening, is what they call.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
I remember in a Kryon channel, Kryon was talking about that the planet is actually shifting, right? The consciousness of the planet is actually shifting. So is that human consciousness shifting the planet, or is it a separate consciousness?
It's both. And if you wanted to back up on the Kryon work over 30 years ago, in book 1, he talked about the magnetic grid shifting so that the consciousness could change. So that tells you that Gaia is involved. So this planet is our partner. And it started to shift. The magnetic grid started to shift. That's validatable. And that allowed for consciousness then to also shift. And then if you want to look at the science of that, we've talked about that in many books and also on stage, is that consciousness, you know, when we had the HeartMath project and all that, they showed that when consciousness changed on the planet, you know, when one of the big experiments that they had was the magnetic grid actually changed when the planes hit the towers at 9/11.
Right.
So this is the first time we saw the correlation between consciousness and the magnetic grid and the planet. So we're all related. So that particular question, I love that, because we're all together in this. Gaia, the consciousness, the magnetic grid, and there's more. We're even moving into a different part of space. You know, our solar system is working in new space all the time. It's moving forward at a tremendous speed into areas it's never been before, and we're moving into areas that are scary to some because there's some radiation there and all that we haven't seen. The astronomers are talking about it, and we're looking at it as being right on time. So we really are in a shift. Things are not the same, and you can look at the science of that.
And I love that it also involves astrology, because you actually talked about consciousness and the magnetic grid of the Earth. One of the first things I remember from Kryon was that magnetics, the magnetic grid of the Earth, it's the engine for communication. And I'm like, okay, it's the engine of communication. What is the communication? And when you actually look at the science behind astrology, it is the Earth is being affected by the pull of the other planets as we're being orbiting around. And through the sun, through the solar wind that blasts out the heliosphere, it is pushing onto our planet. And through the magnetics, which is a magnetic field around our DNA, we are constantly getting those imprints and impressions from the galaxy based on the magnetics and that communication. And that's why astrology works. And when you hear the astrologers give information, pay attention, because they are studying the effects of the galaxy and the solar system and everything on us, and it interfaces with our consciousness.
This is one of the things Kryon has talked about, is how astrology works and the science of it. I think someday they will see, you know, why when the planets are a certain way, certain things happen on the Earth.
Right.
And instead of it being this esoteric idea that nobody can understand, and then, you know, and it's a party thing, what's your sign? You'll start to realize that there is some science behind it. I mean, one of the things that we always laugh about is that when we have a full moon, they put more firemen and policemen on.
Right.
And why? And that has something to do with, of course, astrology. This has a lot to do with astrology and the pull of the moon, and then the place of it, and what happens. And it's acknowledged,
Yeah.
but not the astrology of it. They're just say, okay, it's a full moon. People go crazy.
I wonder, you know, as we put like consumers into space, right? We're there. You know, that's happening.
Yeah.
If astrology might like have a new life breathed into it at just sort of an every person's level. You know what I mean?
I think more than astrology is the magnetics, because the magnetic field of the Earth is needed for biological life. And so what is interesting is if we start venturing outside the magnetic field of the Earth, your body starts to degrade. It's needed for life. And so Kryon was very clear that if you are going to do that, you need to create a magnetic field to take with you.
He was talking specifically about the Mars project. That's, by the way, that's not been seen. They're not doing that, which is interesting to me. There has been very, very little research, even in the space station, about how the magnetic grid of the Earth would affect us. They've done gravity, they've done plants, they've done all kinds of things. But I haven't seen much research on taking the magnetic grid as we know it with us when we go, creating it so that we have the health that we're used to.
Yeah.
Well, that would really only make sense.
Well, you see it even in the polar areas where people go up there and they'll spend time. There's a greater incidence of cancers and things like that, because the magnetic grid is very, very weak up there. So I look forward to science about what happens to us when we go.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
hope it's not going to be the hard way.
Yeah.
Is that why? Because the magnetic grid of the Earth has been sort of cut off by all the concrete and all of the things
Actually,
that
not
we've
that much.
built.
We would have to do something radical to change truly the magnetics we have. What has happened is it's shifted. And we saw that in the early 80s when the whales were beaching themselves and the birds were going crazy and the migrations were a little screwy because both of those groups of animals and birds use a magnetic grid for navigation.
Right.
And so that's why the whales were beaching themselves for
Yeah.
so many years, because the magnetic grid shifted and they were following the old patterns, and it took them right into the beaches.
So that leads me to question. Why would the magnetic grid shift?
Right.
The answer is because human consciousness shifted, where we were on a trajectory of Armageddon, but enough collective souls decided, no, we don't want to be on that pathway. We want to be on a pathway of unity and peace and harmony. And there was enough of the collective souls for that decision that it required the magnetic grid to shift. Why? It's so that we are now postured in a position where we can receive assistance to push us into the next evolution.
So people would ask the big question is that, okay, fine, now we have the shift, we have the magnetic grid shifting that Kryon has predicted now for 32 years, and here we are in the shift. Kryon said here was come. We have the precession of the equinoxes. We're still in that period of time in astrology. We have the rotation of the planets wobble, all of that, and here we are, and we have COVID.
Yeah.
And you
Which
say,
shifted
what
everything.
is the reasoning here, and why would we go into such a difficult time at the shift, which is supposed to be an enlightened time? And that, I think, is the biggest subject. That's the elephant under the table, even for metaphysics. Why are we now in lockdown? Why is all that? And I keep telling people we are right on schedule. This is exactly what Kryon said. It's a light, dark war. It's not a shooting war that we have right now, and that is why there is so much strife and so much fear and so much anxiety right on time. And Kryon has talked about this forever. Since I arrived, he said, it's coming a time, so you should study your mastery and study yourself because of what we must do here.
And that's right in alignment with Adironnda's message.
Of course it is.
It all
Yeah.
begins within. You know what I find really interesting is that when you're talking to people who are not as familiar with the language that we'll say it that way,
Right.
there's so many people that are still in fear, right? But yet we're seeing the consciousness of the planet shift regardless. So that tells me that we don't need 100%, of love. There's a certain point that is a tipping point that's not, 100%, correct?
1/2%
That's it.
of the population.
See, now that should be so assuring to people, don't you think?
Yes.
Well, you start doing the numbers, it's still in the millions.
It's still a lot, yeah.
It's still a lot. But those are the old souls. So if you take a look at the whole idea of reincarnation and how many people are coming back and how many are there, and how many people are coming in new, you still have, just because of the exponential numbers of birth, you have a lot of newbies coming in from all over the galaxy or the universe or whatever. But the old souls keep coming back, and so there's more and more of them. And so it's believable. So that particular number, Kryon says we've actually reached. But now, and here's the good part. We are seeing in our work many, many more young people. A lot more young people. And we're realizing we are talking to old souls in young bodies. And we are finally getting to them. We have spent, I think, I have spent most of these 3 decades talking to people over 45. And those who've come to our conferences, and because they've had their kids, they're done, they're now thinking about their lives and whatever, and so they've got time. And so this is how I looked at it. And for for all of these years, we've had a group where I knew I was talking to 45 and over. I wondered, when is it going to be possible to talk to the young people? And I was told, you've got to go to social media, you've got to do all these things. This is not something somebody my age wants to do. First of all,
Are you sure?
It's not something we grew up with.
Right.
So we don't understand it fully.
Right.
And I say I don't. And I do now, thanks to you. But I didn't back then. So the whole idea of changing our paradigm of the way we work was not in my future until COVID happened. And this is another reason for COVID, and is for many of us then to be able to reach a preponderance of those being born right now who are old souls in young bodies. And you're starting to see this in how they think, what they say, what they do, how they spend their life, how to spend their free time. I mean, it's not like we did.
And even their goals in life.
And their goals in
Yeah.
life. I shouldn't give this away, but I went to college. And when I was in college, I tried to pick a major that was easy so I could get out of college. We weren't thinking about careers.
Right.
We weren't thinking about studying something we actually wanted to do.
Right.
Many of us, and the kids are going to laugh at this, but we went thinking about, we just want a degree
Yeah.
so we can get out of school.
Yeah.
Now that's the 60s for you. But that, and I was not alone.
Well, it was kind of like do step A, B,
Yeah,
C, right?
that's
Get the
right.
gold watch, retire. Now it's not like that at all.
No,
Yeah.
no.
In
I
fact,
mean,
you invent who you are. You invent your career.
and the
you
young,
do that over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
and a lot of the young people, God bless them, are saying maybe what is college for? Why
Yeah.
do we even need to go?
Yeah.
Let's do something special and not have to go through the system.
Yeah.
Like our parents wanted us to, and the college degree that everybody wanted to get because you couldn't get a job is not that way anymore.
Right.
You can go right from high school into a place that you get trained for a corporate job or non-corporate job or healthcare or whatever, and not necessarily have a college degree. And then,
Well, and we met somebody recently. He's an influencer.
I love it.
He invented himself in social media.
Yeah.
So that he can impact other people's lives
Yeah.
on what he knows.
Yeah.
And it does it just through like Facebook Lives.
No. And in that whole thing, we also. Sorry.
That's all
Get
right.
excited.
You're getting excited, so go for it.
There are so many people. There are so many young people thinking about how they can help other people.
Yes.
That was completely and totally missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it was about money.
It was all about
Yeah.
money, and now the young people are setting a standard. They're saying, what can I do that impacts the planet, and at the same time I can earn a living?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting.
That's higher thinking.
Yeah.
As far as
That
I'm
is-
sorry, dear.
Yeah.
That is consciousness.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on the beautiful discussion as it flows. One of the other things from COVID is that a lot of people, personally, Lee and I have known, have had their end of life.
Yeah.
And surprising those who have had end of life. Unexpected, shocking, heart-touching. And I take solace from what Kryon says. There is a soul planning happening that is part of this shift. When you have your end of life and come in next time, there is a promise that everything you have learned spiritually, you pick up and keep running.
Yeah.
And so when I see the difference with the young coming in and their different motivation, that is part of this scenario of the soul planning and that overlay of why we are headed towards where we're headed. And in the last channel Kryon gave for the healing circle of 12, we're given information that there is super souls coming
Yes.
into
Yeah.
the planet. And so truly, if you are struggling with the news and the media and the dysfunction of your government, whatever country you're in right now, take heart, because it is shaking things up that need to be broken in order to create something new. And we have the tools within ourselves, and trust that there are those coming. We're on the hero's journey, and the favorite part of the hero's journey is that you get helpers.
Yeah.
You get supernatural power.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to go through the abyss, and there's atonement and transformation and training. But the hero's journey always ends up victorious.
Yeah.
So I think take heart with that. And we're in a very auspicious time right now. 1/1/22. Wow.
And what a great message. We didn't plan any of this. What a great message to take into the new year for 2022. You know, that we have so much control over it. We know that it's all in how you feel and what you're thinking, and that we all contribute to the consciousness of what's happening. So why not choose to be a positive aspect of that consciousness?
Well, I think that's what people are doing now.
Yeah.
They're making that choice. They're really connecting and choosing consciousness, choosing happiness, and realizing that they are in charge of it, or more people are realizing that they are. And it's catching throughout the world.
Now, there is an oxymoron in the numbers, if you take a look at that. Now, you do numerology different than I do.
Yes.
And we look at the Tibetan numerology. How there is a synchronicity here. 2022 is a 6, and today is 1/1/22, and that's a 6. So we're looking at a lot of 6s all of a sudden. And the 6 is probably one of the best numbers that you could ever have in numerology.
Yep.
It's harmony, balance, love. It's right in the middle. And it's an oxymoron because people are not necessarily feeling all that right now, especially the harmony part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're facing some very interesting things in the new year, and we faced them also in December, where people had to decide whether or not to have their relatives over if they weren't vaccinated. I mean,
Yeah.
we're looking at some things we never thought we would look at, and it's strife. We have been put upon, I would say, attributes we didn't expect, and we had to deal with them, and that is part of the puzzle.
It reminds me of, sorry.
Wait, I'm here too.
I was going to say, it reminds me of when you go through something fearful. Like, I'll use the example of public speaking. Terrified to get up on the stage,
Yes.
didn't want to do it, resisted. And then it's like the worst part of it was the second before it happens.
Yes.
As soon as it happens, it's like all the energy goes away and it feels really great. And I feel like that's what's happening here.
The first time are you here? Right. What's your name again? What is your name?
Let me see if I can dematerialize and materialize
This is
again.
part of your show, actually. First time I ever did public speaking, and I was an adult. I was scared to death. And it was on a stage in an auditorium, and I had people in the audience that I was trying to impress. And so I said, okay, I had 3 jokes to tell. That's all I had to do, 3 jokes. And I was having trouble remembering them because I was so I wrote them on my hand in ink. So I could just go like that and remember them. And I got on stage and I'd sweated it all. Petrified. Horror. It was right. So I know what you're talking about. As soon as it was over, then it was
Well,
fun.
they say that's the greatest fear of all, right?
Yeah.
Public speaking. So
Yeah.
I figured most people could relate to
Now,
that one.
Marilyn will tell you, because I know her story, she never had any trouble.
No.
No.
She was born for the stage.
Right.
And
So
that was
what
obvious.
are your fears then that you've
Yeah.
had to face?
Tell me what your fears were.
and overcome.
Well, someone asked me that once, and I said, I don't think I have any, but I know I do. I think the fear of not being good enough, not being able. I mean, that was probably the most frightened I was coming on stage in the 2015
That's right.
Summer Light Conference.
right.
I was
Yeah.
so scared. I was physically sick beforehand because here was 11 of the most famous honored channels in the world. And
Okay,
me,
can I tell the story?
sure.
Yeah, we've got 11 channels on stage. They're internationally known, and we have Marilyn, who's her first time with us. I had set the stage. I wanted all of those, and we channeled one at a time. And she got the biggest laugh because she decided to talk about her tatas. I'm sorry, folks, but that's what happened, and I'm just revealing it. So,
I think it was actually Adironnda talked about
and the
it.
thing about it is she had no idea because when she goes into channel, she doesn't know what she's saying,
Right,
of
right.
course, and doesn't remember it later. We had to tell her, and she was embarrassed.
I think that's an example of having courage to do the things
right.
that you are afraid of
Right.
and seeing what happens.
Right.
And that's an attribute I think we all need right now is courage, persistence, patience, and self-acceptance.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's what's coming into with the 1/1/2022. You know, the 2022 is a 6, which is harmony.
Yeah.
It's also abundance. As Adironnda describes it, it's laying down the strongest foundation for the years to come.
It
but
is
those
exactly right.
ones are
Yeah.
standing alone in
That's right.
courage. I mean, standing strong. And in the past, we have actually been divided. We are a world divided, you know, vaccinated, not vaccinated, you know, politics, non-politics, whatever. You know, it was a world divided, and that's what this year, the message for this year is calling in the masters, is realizing that you are the master and that you're laying down a new foundation of harmony.
That's
it's
right.
so powerful.
It is powerful.
You know, this is so exciting, but I would love to hear what Kryon has to say. You know, Monika, you give the most beautiful meditations
Aw.
on Healing Wednesday before Kryon speaks and communicates. Could I impose upon you?
I would
to
love to.
give us
How
a
can I ever say
wonderful
no
meditation?
to anything you ask? Yeah, always.
that would
I
be
would love
wonderful.
to. I would love to. And based on this conversation, I think those words are inspiring. Courage, persistence, patience, and self-acceptance. Through moving through those attributes, I think that sets us on a good foundation for the year
So,
to come.
if
So,
I'm going to channel now,
yeah.
I need to remove my watch and my
Okay.
glasses.
And your
was
shoes
one of
and
my
socks?
questions
No, I'm
for
just
you.
kidding about the
What's your
shoes and
Shoes and my
socks.
socks will stay on today. Even though you want to knock my socks off, it's the same.
The sacred tatas.
Okay, why do I remove my watch? It's because I drain batteries. Why do I remove my glasses? Because sometimes Kryon goes like this, and I've had them knocked off.
Good to know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You know, where I am. I mean, you know, Spirit doesn't wear glasses, so bam. Right? That's happened. So that happened a long time ago. That's why I take the glasses off during channel.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, we're in good company
Yes.
and a good auspicious moment to take a moment for ourselves. So I love that I've been invited to be part of that. Thank you, Goddess Joy
course.
and Goddess Marilyn,
Of course.
and all the gods and goddesses tuning in. I invite you to take a deep breath into your belly so that you are breathing in and out and relaxing through your entire being. Every cell of your body is ready for this momentary pause. And so as you deepen that breathing, relax the top of your head, relax your shoulders, relax your arms and hands, relax your abdomen, relax your back, relax your thighs, your knees, your calves, relax your feet, and feel the energy within your feet connecting with Gaia. Underneath you is our beautiful planet. connecting with you, and it is here in support of your journey. And so let us ask to receive the following from Gaia, and let us ask to receive the following from the Creator and from all our guides and angels that walk with us. I ask to receive courage. Courage to move through my fears. I ask to receive patience. Patience as I watch those around me and even my own reactions to things. Bring me patience so that I may step into my mastery. I ask to receive self-acceptance. To love myself in a deeper way. And just take a moment to receive courage, patience, self-acceptance. And understand that the wisdom within your body will direct these energies exactly where you need it. And that you are always able to call upon your helpers, guides, supporters on your journey. You are never alone. You are never alone. And so we welcome in the beautiful energy of Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The time is here that we spoke about so long ago, that we have been speaking about for so many years. It is not a bad time. It's a time of light. We've told you now for many years to expect a time where you could start to use the tools that so many of you know you have. Part of the frustration of the light worker has been that the tools of light were always stopped, that high thinking was never accepted, that love and harmony and compassion were seen as things that did nothing. And so you've been in a bubble so long, dear light worker, dear loving human being. A bubble that seemed to stop everything you did, where no one believed it, to a point where you were frustrated beyond belief that those things which you knew worked didn't work for you. The bubble is starting to pop over and over. Not a bubble that goes away slowly, it is starting to pop. Where light can be transmitted and compassion works, and the things in your toolkit that have been there for so long are now starting to be tools. Tools of enlightenment, you might say. Tools of mastery. And you start to get results. I want to talk about that just a little bit. The day, the one. I want you to look at these things metaphorically, for this is the way Spirit works with you. The metaphors are always abundant for you, and that is the way Spirit speaks. For metaphors can be seen by all cultures and all languages, whereas the actual language, perhaps, is lacking. I want you to look at the one today and see something different. I want you to see pillars. I want you to see pillars that are going to hold up something that never was held up before. You. I want you to see perhaps a foundation being laid that will support those pillars today. The year of the 6, the harmony, the balance, promotes that which is you. To build a foundation, to have those pillars as large as you wish to support something that you're building. You might call it's the beginning of the house of mastery. We use that term mastery and we mean it just like you think. The masters of the planet, they all had something in common, and we can start listing those things. Those things are not necessarily the ability to create miracles. Those things are the ability to be silent when you need to. Mastery doesn't react, dear ones. It observes. Mastery observes and then sends compassionate action where it's needed. There are so many kinds of things that mastery does that are really you. If you study it, if you want it, if you build this house. But this is the year to start building it. All of these years, these past 2 years especially, have been for you to see what should be done. And you might say, I'm ready to change my government. I'm ready to do this and that. Let me tell you the best way to do that. Because this is where it gets good. And this is about the bubble. As you continue to build a light temple around yourself, it's a transmitter. Dear ones, most of the indigenous knew about the transmitter in their own way. Some of those early, even religious systems knew about the transmitter. And here's what I want to tell you. The more you take on that which is your soul energy of mastery, as you pop the bubble, the more you start using those tools that we're talking about, those tools of maturity, of harmony and balance, of non-judgment, of peace, the more you start using them for yourself, the more you transmit that energy right where you stand to the planet. You're a transmitter, and you didn't even know that. That is where the term lighthouse, the metaphor, came from. The lighthouse stands alone on the rock, perhaps in the storm, but the ships at sea see it, and it steers them into that harbor which is safe. It's a transmitter of light. They may not even know your name. The more you build your temple of light, the more you take care of yourself, the more you expand in all that you are, the more that you do that, the more you then transmit this to the planet, to others, in ways that you're not even aware of, until someone comes up to you you don't even know, with tears in their eyes, and looks at you, and you say, what is it? And they say, I don't know what you've got, but I want it. That'll happen. And then you'll realize that you're a transmitter. If you put enough transmitters on this planet of light, the planet changes. Governments change. All the systems start to change. The light exposes the corruption, the dirt, the things that shouldn't be there. All the things that you're frustrated with now start to click into place, and the dominoes fall where they should. And the earth starts to change, and it makes the shift real. That's who you are. That's what the 1-1 is about. It's the beginning of the temples of light, all of you. I am crying in love with humanity, for good reason. And so it is.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. You know, I could listen to Kryon a lot. and you. But it was absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. I kept thinking, 1-1, love. It's like the beginning of love.
I think there's a lot of hope on this
I do too.
planet, and it's difficult when you're in trouble
Yeah.
to get beyond the trouble. It's something you cut through, the depression, the fear. It really is. It's like you take a magic knife and cut through that, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is too. And
Everything is possible.
everything is possible.
Right.
We are laying that foundation,
Yes.
that harmony, that it's a interesting. It'll be interesting to see what Adironnda has to say about it all.
Yeah.
And,
I know.
and take in
Yeah.
that capacities. But
Yeah.
before we do that, we get a set change, right?
We do.
All right.
Well, it's been an absolute honour to spend this time with you both. We miss having you because we would travel the world
Yes.
mostly together, and we're being asked to step into different roles. But I love this opportunity, so thank you.
Yeah,
It
thank
is
you.
wonderful.
Thank
Thank
both
you.
Of you
Thank
so
you very much.
Thank you.
We keep doing this. I love it.
Yes, I know, right.
Well, we're trying to get you to hit your mic, you know.
and
We're not allowed
and
to.
touch the button so we disappear. And
Right.
Oh, we're just gonna
beam me up,
Beam
Scotty.
you up.
Okay, let's do that. I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm
Sure,
ready.
beaming you
I'm ready.
up
Here we go.
now.
All right.
I love that.
I know. I think all travel should be done that way.
I think so. I remember doing it that way.
Just think you won't have to bring your luggage.
I love that even more. I do have a question though. Does
Huh.
that mean we get to keep Lee's watch? I like that. It's a beautiful.
I'll let you find out about that one.
Maybe we could send it to him.
Oh, there you go.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
It worked.
You know, your mind is a powerful thing.
Yes, it is.
Much more powerful than you think.
Watch this power in the set change. How's
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh, I love traveling that
I know.
way.
I wish we could figure out how to do all of our travel like this.
The meaning of "bing me up, Scotty" is all new for me.
I know. It's like beam me down, Scotty. That is so fun. Well, wasn't that amazing?
Oh, I just love Lee and Monika.
I know. It's always a very special time when they're on set with us. And
Yes.
wow, what a channel. I am so curious as to what Adironda's going to say.
Me too.
Well, you know, I took a peek at our our questions, and all of our questions are really pretty much the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone wants to know what's going to happen in 2022. I want to know what's going to happen in 2022. Actually, I kind of feel like I have a sense of it, don't you?
Well, after Lee's channeling, actually.
But
yes.
I mean, based upon the numbers, and don't you feel kind of a sense of like what he was talking about coming in already,
Yes.
hope and peace?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's. Well, we'll see what Adironnda has to say and what the numbers are.
Yeah.
Because that will influence it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me just get out of the way. Is that
All
what
right.
you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear what Adironnda has to
Okay.
say.
Ah, so it is a good day to you, huh? It is so good to see you, your bright, radiant light, your divine presence. It's good to see you. It's good to see you and you and you. It's good to see each and every one of you because, as you know, everything is multidimensional now. So we see you where you are in your pajamas. We see where you are in your little bit of hungoverness. We see where you are in your little family gathering. We sound like Santa Claus, don't we? So as you are connecting with this information for the new year, we just want to give you a little insight on the date. And if you do not know who we are Adironnda, and we communicate with a council of beings of light. for your benefit, to help you know what it feels like to be held in the infinite of love. So this year, 1/1/2022, that is today's date, 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, all adds up to an 8. Now that today is about expanding your abundance. It is about expanding into infinity for the abundance that you are. Not just money, but abundance of everything, dearest beings of light. You see, that which you are thinking, what we've given example of people beaming in, beaming out, because that is really the way the vessel Marilyn wishes to travel, huh? And that energy of coming in and out is the new way. You can focus your mind and travel in many different dimensions, in many different realms. So, dearest beings of light, that is the infinite of the 8 of today. You are accentuating a new project, a new projection for humanity today. So that is why the vessel Marilyn and the Master Randy and the Joy asked what their intention was. So we ask you again, what is your intention that you are setting down and laying the foundation for? For you see, this is a year of every different aspect beginning to come together and build a humanity that is welcoming to the superhuman, the super frequency of the galactics as well as the humans that are on this planet. That is what this year is laying down the frequency for. So as you are expanding in that energy, as you are radiating your new light, your new focus, your new vision, we ask you, what is it? What is that intention? You have seen what it is like to have nations divided. You have seen what it is like to have countries divided. You have seen what it is like to have other parts of the world divided amongst themselves and their family. Oh, you can't bring your family over because they're not vaccinated. You can't bring this over because they are vaccinated. You can't wear the mask or you don't wear the mask. You've got this politics or this energy or that energy. This is the time for all that to come together, to lay down the strength and the foundation of harmony. You see, the Tibetans see that harmony is the 6, which is the 222 of 2022. Now you've got that 0 mixed in there, and that is the energy of source. So with that focus and with that connection, you've got those 2s adding up to the 6. That has harmony. That also brings in the Pythagorean energy of paying attention to your material possessions. And our interpretation of the 6, which is pregnant with new ideas, because we look at the way the number looks and see what the energy is there. So when you bring all of that together, take a deep breath. When you bring all of that together, you have a new idea that you are giving vision to, that it is creating in your world, in your essence, in your field, in your cells. And that new idea may shift the way you look at your material possessions, because ultimately you are creating harmony in the space that you are living, in the space that you are working, in the energy that you are inhabiting, and the field that you are moving around this planet in. That is what you are indeed laying down the foundation for as it comes to the 6. Now, when you look at all those twos lined up together, whew, it is magnificent. We can't wait for the 222 of 2022 because it is going to be even more exciting. So you've got the twos, that a two by itself is speaking of duality. It is also speaking of divine partnership coming together. The 22 is a master builder. The 222 is acknowledging all partnerships are divine relationships and laying the foundation for humanity to move into that new direction. Those twos are always looking forward into the future, but they still are the only number that has a strong, strong foundation. So as you are embracing that, as you are enveloping that, oh, dearest beings of light, we have waited for this year, and we are waiting with you for the super energy of humans, the acknowledged intelligence of divine creation is coming into play as each person on this planet discovers consciousness creates form. And that energy, as you know, consciousness creates form. You know what you think about is manifested. You know what you feel in your heart is being created. However, even those that may not consciously know that right now, during this foundational year of transformational change, the new idea is giving birth to consciousness, which does create form. It's giving birth to the awareness of being aware of your habit, of your what works, what doesn't work, of then bringing all of that into that state of harmony. For to have the galactics come here, you must have a state of harmony. Otherwise, well, we know what might happen, which is not necessarily a fun experience. So, with that energy, breathe into it. What would it look like if the world were in a state of harmony? What would it look like if all that was divided somehow, mystically, just as the dissolving in and out of the frequency here, somehow mystically dissolved in together, honoring the differences, to know that you've got, in a scarf, you've got the red, you've got the blue, you've got the light blue, you've got the dark blue, you've got the black, but they all work together harmoniously like a stained glass window. Humanity in this year is looking a little like a stained glass window, not to be separated by the lines and the lead or whatever that device is that connects, but to have a beautiful, rich color that is next to another beautiful, rich color, that the two are completely different, but they are not competing with each other. They are blending in harmony with each other, because as they blend in that harmony, they no longer knock heads. Instead, they come together and form a union that is much stronger than separate. When you have two fists that are separate, you can easily push one of them down or the other of them down. But when they lock together, it is much more difficult to maneuver that. And that is what it is. It's like the stained glass fingers of humanity are indeed in this year coming together to blend perfectly, even though they are not the same. You understand what we say? we are hearing someone say, how can they come together if they are so different? Well, my mother-in-law will never accept me. That is your purchase order to the universe. Breathe into that. If you believe your mother-in-law will never accept you, you are right. If you believe that humanity is accepting and you have an open heart to accept your mother-in-law, then that will be reflected back to you. It cannot be a fake, artificial, oh, I love her, when inside you're saying, oh, I really don't. You see, what is inside is actually speaking louder than what your lips are saying. This is the time when you are blessing humanity. This is the time when your light is expanding to such an extent that humanity, consciousness, the mass consciousness, is being affected by it. Now we know in the past, in 2021, there are many who did not think that humanity would even make it through 2020 and 2021. That was the divisive period. That was the connection and disconnection of that which you are choosing not to experience. Now, you are choosing to experience wondrous things. You are choosing to experience the illumination of all of humanity, not just those that are awake. And as that illumination experience happens, you bring in that 6 with those 2 courageous wands of today. Today, you are starting a new frequency. Today, you are setting the energy to be able to stand strong with no foundation. That is the one. To start something new today. What can you do to start something new today? Do you know how important today is? With the vessel Marilyn and the Master Randy, it was on 1/1/2000 that he said, come over, bring your little meta thingy, and you take a meditation and I'll play the piano and we'll see what happens. And he went interdimensional after that. We could see the bookcase through him. So now that was 22 years ago. Now, what you are doing today sets the pace for the rest of the year, sets the pace for the next 22 years. That is why today, and this year of 2022, is so important. It is a magnificent energy of master building a new foundation for humanity to set their feet upon. Because their feet have been up in the air for the past few years. Their feet have been doing a tap dance trying to see if they can walk on hot coals or not. Well, they can. Now, that foundation is going to build in greater strength than ever before. You see, what you are feeling right now, you are feeling that open-hearted love from us to you. We hope that there's others around the planet. As you feel all around the planet, hundreds of people at the same moment listening, breathing into, acknowledging that frequency of the infinite love of humanity. That is today. the 8. The abundance of all things, the abundance of all creation. You are laying a foundation in this year. You are laying that foundation down. Things are smoothing out in this year. We know someone asked the question about things smoothing out, and they said, well, an earthquake smooths things out. It is not that same. It is smooth sailing for that energy. It is smooth creation for your energy. It is hopeful. It is harmonious. It is diligent. It is joy-filled. It is acknowledged humanity in the consciousness of love. That is what you are laying down the foundation for right here, right now. You are light plurkers. Play plus work equals plurk, if this is your first time with us. You are the way showers. You are the ones we have been waiting for. You are the ones, the new children that are coming in, have conscious awareness. Those hundreds chose to leave this planet and go to the other realm in the last few years. When they return, they will have conscious acknowledgement and memory of who they are and what they are doing. That is the evolution of humanity. That is fifth dimensional living. That is the new frequency of our time. So every time you think of yourself as basing it on something that is past, take a deep breath. There is no past. Dearly beloveds, you have been looking backwards far too long. You have been looking backwards thinking, well, we allowed the pain and the degradation of humanity to become a way of life. The confusion, the division, the disconnection to become a way of life. Now is the time to trust the miracle is you. Yes, look at your body. Look at your mind. Look at that which you create. The miracle is you. You create the essence of everything you choose. So if things are not working quite like you think they are, as the Joy says, create something else. You are the essence of this new land. And if you choose to live in it, you must put forth the source you call God in the forefront of your heart. For those directions, that guidance will help you flow through this activity. this action of this next world. The Holy Mother, the Divine Mother, the Divine Feminine, the feminine nobility, as you call it, are one with this year of 2022. You are giving birth to a new planet. A new vibration of this planet. A new frequency. Your language does not even describe what is happening in an interdimensional, multidimensional way. As you turn to the right and turn to the left, or feel an energy around you, know that it is me. Know that the veils are becoming non-existent in this world, because you are focusing that device that may keep you alive, but will activate those that are around you. I ask you to look upon this world with compassion for all things, gratitude for all things, and peace for all things. For what you focus on is what is expanding. You know this. So when you focus on not being frustrated, what's happening is the not and the frustrating is getting larger. So what is the opposite of that? Peace. This world, this planet, this, as you call Mother Gaia, is rearranging herself, is lifting her frequency as well. So there may be a little rocky times ahead. Trust. Trust, 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 trust. Have faith that all is well. That is what the activation will be. To instill the wellness within you. To install the wellness within you. We ask you to place your hands over your heart and breathe into the special encodement played with each note. Breathe into the frequency breathe into your intention of gratitude, compassion, and peace as we, as I, as the dear council, hold our hands over your heart as well. We all relax. The energy of peace we breathe into the participation of peace. We envelop the love for humanity, with humanity, and through humanity. We acknowledge all living creatures. They are all playing their part in the greatest movie of all time. We cherish every moment, every moment. We cherish the wondrous and the not so wondrous. And we enthusiastically step into perfect health, perfect love. For you are perfect, just as you are. Breathe into the divine perfection of you as the Master encodes you with the new frequency. Breathe into it. The gentleness, the truth of you. The acknowledgement to participate and embrace, actively cherishing everything. as that gentle energy flows. Allow your hands to open, to enfold the infinite of all things within you. The infinite love, the infinite peace, the infinite gratitude, the infinite compassion, the infinite you. In truth, in beauty, in love, you are our messengers for this new world. Always. It is with gratitude that we see you. We know you. We love you. We embrace you. And we bid you namaste. 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 Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
I've not felt energy like that before. Thank you.
It was
Whoever
very
was
cool.
here.
Yeah,
Thank
whoever
both
was
of
here.
you.
Yeah.
Wow.
If that's not harmony,
I don't know what is.
wow, that was just really amazing. Wow.
Now we have to talk, right?
So, for those of you who've joined us here today, or you're watching the recording, happy New Year's Day, happy 2022 from all of us at Adironnda and Company. And if you're joining us for the first time, we do this every month.
This month we do it twice.
This month we do it twice. We'll be back on air for January 111, which is a powerful day with Michael Brown of the Presence Process, a teacher of mine and Marilyn's, very, very special. And, you know, at one point I wanted to ask Adironnda a question about New Year's resolution, and we'll address that later. But if you're looking for a way to get into harmony and you are seeking peace in your life, I am telling you the Presence Process is the way.
Absolutely
It is a great book to read, and you'll get to meet Michael here in a few more days. Marilyn and I both did it early on, and we've done it 2 or 3 times, and
At least.
it's really, really powerful because all of that you want in peace is just about learning how to be present, fully present in the moment, and whatever's happening going, how could this get any
Yay!
better?
Yeah, celebrating everything.
Yeah, so
That will be on 111.
111. We have some really good stuff coming up. So if you are a subscriber of the Double Digit with Adironnda and Company myself, Marilyn, and Randy, we are so grateful for you. Thank you for being a part of our family. And if you are a guest with us today and you would like to subscribe, I'm sure they're dropping something in the chat window that you
Or
can
there's
follow.
a link somewhere on this page.
Or you'll get an email from us. Or you can go on our website at Adironnda.com, ADIRO, 2 N's, NNDA.com, ADIRONNDA.com. And you can look under, I think it's events, or in the store, and you'll find the double digit, and you can subscribe. You get all kinds of benefits, but we're here every month along with many, many, many other people, and we invite you to join us.
So, with that, Happy New Year.
Happy
Yes.
New Year.
Namaste, y'all.
Namaste.
Happy New Year.
Almost. That was pretty good.
Yeah. 2022.
22. Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow.
Can you imagine? This is a new year, 2022. I mean, I remember science fiction was written about 2022. Do you know that? I look at her.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Got an outtake.
I look at Joy and it's like, nobody's home.
I don't like science fiction, so I didn't know what to say. I'm like,